Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shanna Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district. And I'm joined by my producer and husband, Buzz Martin.
Hello, everybody.
Today we're talking about podcasting.
I'm frustrated, as Daniel Tiger would say. So this is our second recording of this podcast today because we were trying to do this all free using free software.
Like free everything.
Free everything. But you know, we use multi-track editing, and we've got a music track that you heard at the beginning. By the way, that music track is from the YouTube royalty free, like free to use library. And I've provided the link in the podcast episode post on smartandwi.com.
Sweet.
But we initially recorded this on Audacity,
which is free,
and it sounded great. And then it crashed, and I can't find
we lost the file.
I can't find the file. So we're back to recording this on Adobe Audition, which is not free. But if you're podcasting in your classroom and just using like one track and you want to use it for free, Audacity usually works.
It's a download for your computer too.
It's
a download. It's not going to be like an app or something like that. We're going to talk about several different ways that you guys can have students communicate and different types of ways you can have students podcast in your classroom. But Audacity is when it's a download to put onto your computer.
Yeah, it's a download, and it's a downer today for me.
But we've used it in the past, and it's worked fine.
Yeah, no.
So
it has. This was a freak accident. I've got the latest version of the Mac OS on my computer, and it may be too advanced for that level of Audacity right now. So that might be part of the problem too. So I'm not going to knock Audacity. I mean, I might tweet at them later, but I'm not going to knock them because
we've used it successfully. And when it comes to students and doing simple things, Audacity is fine.
It is a powerful piece of software that is free, and your mileage may vary.
There you go.
So when you have students in your classroom that are getting ready, they want to start getting into recording.
Yes.
Where do you usually start?
Well, we don't podcast.
Okay.
But actually, I want to take 2 steps back really quick.
All right.
To highlight when you had talked about the music that you pull for Google, from Google. What's it called again?
I use, I Google, if you Google, in Google, if you type in Google royalty free music, it'll bring up the YouTube link.
Okay.
That will give you a whole list of downloadable royalty-free music that is free to use. Okay. Some of them, if they have like a little person, like a little circle with a person, you have to give credit to that person if you use it. But YouTube doesn't want you using music like Lady Gaga or Dr. Dre or...
Right. Well, I'm thinking like students who
Florida Georgia Line.
Yes.
Gross.
It's your favorite. But students, I think like they want to be YouTubers and they all want to create videos. We use WeVideo all the time, things like that. And the music gets to be the same all the time because they pick the same 5 songs. So if they have royalty-free music or a place where they can pick music that isn't going to be a problem, then they can actually... use this music. So there's other choices anyway. So I just want to highlight that website because that is useful in itself for having actual music for students to use. So it's not the same 5 songs all the time that you're always hearing when they make stuff.
Exactly. And like I said, we'll put the website, or we'll put the link to that website on smartandwi.com. And that's the intro music we used in today's episode is free. Next week, we'll go back to the other stuff, which I use, and that's my company pays for it. It's the Killer Tracks is the name of the library
for the schnaz normal music for the Tech Tools.
Yeah, it's stuff that you hear on commercials and stuff. So
cool.
But the Audacity is the name of the program that we were using.
Yes,
we're currently using Adobe Audition, which is not free.
Correct.
And then Google royalty free music is the music that you heard.
Cool. All right. So back to not podcasting.
Yeah.
Getting students into podcasting. A lot of times students think they want to be YouTubers and be on video, and they think they want to be recorded. And then you put them in front of a microphone or in front of a screen.
Why do it sound so weird?
And they get freaked out, which I don't blame them. I used to be very freaked out in front of a microphone myself. And so a way to get students into talking about their topics and communicating, because the whole point is to be communicating what they're learning.
Right.
So I get them in using Blabberize.
Okay.
Which is a funny name for a very fun website. And Blabberize I've been using for quite some time. It's a pretty basic website to use. And when you go to Blabberize and you go to the website, it's pretty blue color. And there's this fantastic llama in the middle of the screen, which is always highly engaging. And you hit play. And if you put it up on your smartboard or something, it's pretty funny because there's a giant llama that's talking in your classroom. And it explains how the website works, basically. And it talks about how you can make things talk. So you click on Blabberize, you click, don't scroll too far. If you go too far, there's always ads like on the bottom.
Sure.
So it's in the middle of the page and you click make. And once you click make, you go to browse and you find a picture. And you can find pictures of anything. Again, we talk about not ripping off other people's pictures, which is a good start. And I've had students do projects on national parks and have mountains talk about their national parks. I've had them grizzly bears talk about Yellowstone. And they pick any picture that they want to talk. I usually use a picture that goes with the topic that they're talking about. And they upload the picture. And then once you have found your picture, the little like purple mouth kind of shows up. And actually one of the student examples that I'm going to put into the website today, my students do a project on presidents. And so FDR is explaining why he is the best president ever. So that student example I'm going to put up there because he is FDR explaining why he's a great president.
Sure.
And you can put any picture and any voice record combination in there. It's really easy. Once you find the picture, you adjust the mouth. You click the little purple and the green little dots to adjust the mouth. And then you start talking and the mouth starts moving. You don't have to record. You can just practice. So kids can yell, they can talk, they can do anything they want and get comfortable talking and making the picture move, which gets them talking into a microphone and understanding like volume and things like that. And then you can click the record button. It records the picture talking whatever topic you want to talk about. And then once that's explained, you can hit save. And then you can log in and save it then. And login's not a Google login. You have to create your own login. And it's a little weird where you just log in. And then once you log in like 5 seconds later and it works.
Okay.
And then you save it and you've got a shareable link. You can drop it into Google Classroom. You can put it on a website. You can email it to your friends. Mind you, they might do that. So be aware of what your students are recording pictures of and what they're talking about.
Yep.
But it is super fun to get kids involved in learning how to use a microphone, but learning how to talk and communicate their information in a clear manner. Because if you're mumbling on the microphone, the pictures, the mouth just kind of opens slightly. And when students are practicing, I usually have them write out a script, even if it's just 1 or 2 sentences. That way they get used to knowing the content that they want to talk about before they start discussing it.
Sure.
It's really fun and easy. We kind of talked earlier. I was uploading information about Blabberize earlier, and our 3-year-old was interested in what I was doing and sat in my lap. And so she recorded a little bunny talking about that the bunny loves carrots. So,
and it does love carrots.
It does. So maybe we'll throw that one out there too. You guys can see it. But it's super easy to use. And I have not met a student or an adult that doesn't want to play around in Blabberize.
Sure.
It's just highly engaging and an easy way to practice. It's super fun. I don't know.
No, very cool. And so, yeah, we'll put the link to that up on the website, and you can.
And there's another one, too, that she made, it's Star Wars. And it's Admiral Akbar. And she's like, he needs to say, it's a trap. So I don't think that one will go on the website, but
maybe throw it up on Twitter.
Yeah, maybe we'll put that one up on Twitter just because the 3-year-old going, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
With Admiral Akbar is pretty amazing.
Perfect.
So that's Blabberize. So that's how I start students into podcasting. They're talking, they're getting aware of like a microphone and how that works. Yeah. And then, go ahead.
And then next up you have Spreaker.
Now, Audacity, unsuccessful, it was successful and then became unsuccessful. Spreaker, I'm very comfortable using. I've used Audacity before a while ago. Spreaker is what my students usually use now in my classroom for podcasting purposes. And actually, it was a student that introduced me to Spreaker. I think 2 years ago, I was using a different set of software for them to record. And she came to me. She's like, Mrs. Martin, I found a different one. I was like, that's fine. And a Spreaker can go either on your phone. A lot of my students record it right off their phone.
Okay.
Or you can go to the website, and it is set up for podcasting. That's kind of like the focus of Spreaker. So you're able to just log in. Once you have an account, you click on your dashboard. You're able to open up your dashboard, and you're just going to create a new show. You can go in, you can edit old shows too if you want to view and edit information. And then you're able to embed your episodes, and then you just record. It's pretty simple. There is some basic editing tools, and you're able to record your information and whatever you want to talk about for your podcast. And they do have a pro version, so you can go pro, and then you have obviously more access to things. But for students' sake, for creating a simple podcast, they're able to share it with you and then have an editable link, or share the link, I should say, and they can just drop that right into Google Classroom and share their information. I mean, there's so many uses for student podcasting. It's not just recording like shows for fun, but having them explaining science concepts and explaining how math problems work. Or if they're absent and they want to share information for group work, they can use it.
Foreign language stuff.
Yeah, foreign languages, if they are going to be interviewing one another, or you need to have students recording what they're saying. For a lot of that, there's dialogue involved. And foreign languages are an amazing way to be using podcasting. And Spreaker is super easy for students to be able to use that. One of my students is doing a mock interview, and we'll just put just what it looks like on the student side. You won't be able to hear her recording, but you'll be able to see what it looks like. And it's just straightforward. It's really basic sound, like information waves, sound waves. And she did a mock interview of Frederick Miller from Miller Brewing, because they're doing the history of Wisconsin.
Oh, sure.
And so she was the interviewer and the interviewee, and did like different voices and stuff. So
that's cool.
But any type of information sharing and learning how to communicate that out articulately, I think is really important, and with any type of podcasting. But Spreaker is what we use, and it's very simple and easy to follow and meant for podcasting. So it's really great, easy, free software.
Very good. And then there's one that you've been talking about most of the day, which is the Beautiful Audio Editor plugin.
Yeah, so Beautiful Audio Editor is in a beta phase. It is a Chrome extension. It goes right onto your Chromebook or right into your computer. And it's super cool. It's an extension that is easy to record straight from. You can have more than one line, so it's multi-track recording.
Yep, multi-track, yep.
And what's cool about this one is that it works both online and offline.
Okay.
So you're able to record and save, and then it'll add eventually, like when you go back online, it adds to your Google Drive. So you're able to record and then save to your Google Drive, which is the most exciting thing, because as we know, with students in school, they don't always, know where to put their files, or they save it to a computer and then it gets lost forever when it comes to podcasting.
Sure.
So there is a save button. They click the save button and it goes right into their Google Drive. You're able to record and edit, and it's cool. It's new and it's cool, something to play around with. So check that one out. So it's a Beautiful Audio Editor, and it's another fun way to podcast with students or record.
Yeah.
Even if they're not podcasting, but any type of recording and communicating, which is like the key, getting students to communicate their information, which is pretty snazzy.
It is pretty snazzy.
But yeah, when you want to talk about microphones a little bit.
Yeah. So the when your kids are recording, they're able to, if they're using a Chromebook or whatever they may be using, if you have maybe something that's Mac computers or Windows computers as well, you can use a set of headphones that have the microphone built in to record, and that'll give you a better quality than if you're just trying to use the onboard mic on your computers. When we record this podcast, we're using Blue Snowballs. So the brand is Blue and the product is Snowball. They make a really good line of USB mics, and these are the cheapest that they have, but they're really high quality. And
it looked like you could throw them across the room. Like if things don't work, like when Audacity doesn't work.
Yeah, I know. I know. I thought about it.
The microwave across the room, the microphone across the room.
In the previous version, Shanna had
I kept calling microphones microwaves.
She called the microphone a microwave. Anyway. You didn't say keep. I wouldn't say keep. You did it once, but it was fun.
Yes.
And now it's lost. Thanks, Audacity. But if you are going to pay, or if you have some budget, if you have about $100,
a magic budget from someplace.
I know. It's almost a joke.
Or if you had one, even if you had one like really good one, if you're in a computers class or like a web type class and you're having students, like this is one of your main focuses, it'd be something to look into.
Yeah, you can get a Blue Snowball for about $38 on Amazon. That comes with a stand. I think the last one we got with a windscreen as well, so there's you don't pop your peas. And that I believe is $38 for one. So you could probably get two microphones if you need to for less than $100.
Or you could use the super cool cream-colored 1988 microphones for your students in case they get angry and throw theirs across the room.
Yeah, if you can plug it in the computer. And they work in Chromebooks.
That's better than just talking at a Chromebook because it gives a little more.
Yeah, it's a little bit more isolated. It sounds a little bit better, depending on the microphone.
I really did dig a 1980s cream one out of a file cabinet someplace a couple of weeks ago. And
it's beautiful.
Used it.
Great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Whatever you can get your hands on, and if it works, it works. So, but yeah, check those out, and that will make whatever they're podcasting sound better.
And they'll be super fancy when it comes to working on their professionalism on their podcast.
Absolutely. And that'll do it for episode 10.
Woohoo! Free things to podcast. Free things to podcast.
A podcast about
with
free things.
Tools.
Well, anyway. Before it was a podcast using free tools.
It was
about free tools, but
now it's like half.
But one of the free tools broke, so we went back to the paid stuff. Sorry.
But really, maybe it was like user error. Thanks for tuning in. This has been
I'm a free producer, for the record.
The Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed on this episode, visit smartnwi.com. New episodes each week, and you can check out that Tech Tools directory. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantees that these tools will work for you, because sometimes they don't work for us, as described, but we sure hope that they work for you, and even if they didn't work for us. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.